Subscribe to my channel now. Remember to subscribe to my channel. See you. Hi, welcome to my video and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching and thank you to my subscribers for subscribing to my channel. Please watch my videos and subscribe and share my videos. Let more people watch my videos. Today I will talk about language learning. First of all, I'm not a language teacher, so I will just tell you some advice. But if you want good advice, I think you should go to a language teacher or someone who really are very good in language. But first of all, I'll just give you a few advices. But first advice is don't listen to polyglot YouTubers. Even if some of them, maybe they will give you some good advice. But why you should not listen to them is because there's a reason why you should not listen to polyglot YouTubers, and that is maybe for some people don't care. There are some people who don't care, but it's because they have some wrong mindset. Some people have some wrong mindset. They will keep watching the polyglot YouTubers videos and keep supporting them. But I think you should not watch their channel. You should not support them. You should not subscribe to them because they are scammers and they are lying to people. So it doesn't matter even if some of them make some videos where they give some good advice, but those advices you can actually find them also for free if you search on Google. If you search on Google, you can find some advice about how to learn language, or you can find some other YouTubers. You can find some language learning YouTubers, like some YouTubers who have language learning videos in different language who can give you advice also. So I think you should not really listen to the polyglot YouTubers, mostly because they're scamming people. So doesn't matter even if they have some good advice there. I don't think you should watch their videos. You can find advice many places, but I will give few advices. But as I said, I'm not a language teacher, but I'll just give some advice. If you have no experience or experiment with language and you don't know what to do, I'll give you a few advices. But first advice is that you should talk with someone who a language teacher or who, if you have some friend or someone in your family or friend who have been learning different language for many years, that person is already an expert. And then maybe you say, oh, but this person, my friend or my uncle or friend or my cousin or someone have been learning French and Italian or German or some 2 or 3 language for 20 years, and that person is not very good in language, so why should I listen to that person? Because you think learning a language, because you think learning 2 or 3 or 5 language will only take you a few months or 1 year or 2 years, because the polyglot YouTubers will tell you on their channel that they're learning 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 language in 1 year, and then your uncle or your friend have been learning 2 or 3 language for the last 10 years or something. Then you think what your uncle or friend will tell you is bad advice, and the polyglot YouTubers will give you good advice. I will tell you, listen to your friend or the person that you know that have been learning 2 or 3 or different language for many years, who actually have tried on his own to learn language for many years and have some experience what is working and what is not working to learn a language. But the polyglot YouTubers, they cannot speak those 10 or 20 language, they did not learn 10 or 20 language in 1 year or something like that. So it means that whatever they tell you, don't listen to them. It doesn't matter even if they give you some advice who are working, but still don't listen to them. And another reason you should not listen to the polyglot YouTubers is because most of them are trying to sell you something. their YouTube channel is made. They made their YouTube channel because they try to sell you something. They try to sell you some product. They try to, same like I say in my other video, they're trying to sell you some membership to language learning apps. They want to sell you membership to language learning apps, or they're trying to sell you some ebooks, or they're trying to sell you some course how to learn a language, or language learning tips course, or pronunciation course, or some other bullshit. They're trying to sell you a product, so they don't really care to give you a good advice. And if they give you some good advice, the only reason they do it is because they are hoping that you will buy their products. So you should stay away from them and stay away from their channels. I will give you some advice, and as I said, I'm not a language teacher. I'll just give you a few advice because I feel bad. I feel bad for those people who are listening to the Polyglot YouTubers advice. So I will give you a few advices how to learn a language, even if my advice is not 100% good or 100% perfect. But any advice from me or from anyone, or from your friend, or from anyone, will be better than listening to the Polyglot YouTubers who tell you that you can learn a language in 1 week, or in 1 month, or 3 months, or 6 months. It will be better than listening to the Polyglot YouTubers who will tell you that you can be fluent in a language in 1 week, or in 3 months, or 6 months. Anyone else who give you advice will be much better than what those Polyglot YouTubers are telling you. So I'll just try to give you a few advices. Maybe in future I will make some other videos also with some advice. But first of all, you should find out why you want to learn a language or why you want to learn language. First of all, if you have some plan that you want to learn 3 language or 5 language or 10 language or 20 language the same time, already there you're doing a big mistake. If you're trying to learn 10 language or 12 language, same like Lindsey Boats in 1 year, she says she's learning 12 language in 1 year. If you do that, this is already first mistake. Don't do that. My first advice, don't do that. Normally the advice will be what to do, but I will also tell you some things not to do. Don't try to learn 10 or 12 language the same time. Don't even try to learn 3 or 5 language or 6 language the same time. Don't even try to learn 2 language the same time. Only if it's really important to you that there's some really important reason why you're going to learn 2 language the same time. For scratch, it's not for scratch, it's from scratch. It's from scratch. Ha ha ha, you fucking clown. And she cannot speak all this language. Look how many language she add there. 12 language. She cannot speak any of this language. She can only speak English. She can only speak one language, that's English. She's from USA and she can only speak English. Watch my videos of this scammer and watch the live stream that she have that I uploaded on my channel. Watch my videos. She can only speak English. This fake American polyglot scammer. She can only speak one language, that's English. This fucking scammer. Lindsey Boats is from USA and she can only speak English. She's not from South Africa and the only language she can speak is English. And she cannot even spell or write correctly in English. She write for scratch, but it should be from scratch. She's not from South Africa. She cannot speak Afrikaans. She cannot speak Dutch. She cannot speak any of this language. She's from USA and she can only speak one language, and that is American. Watch the videos I upload of Lindsey Boats. She's just a fake scammer, same like all the other polyglot YouTubers. All of them are fake liars and scammers. Lindsey Boats, you fake shit scammer. You say that you're from South Africa. You're South African by birth. You're not from South Africa. You cannot speak African. You cannot speak Dutch. I have showed that in my videos. If people watch my videos I uploaded of you, you cannot speak Afrikaans. You cannot speak Dutch. You're not from South Africa. And then you will say that you are Christian and strive to shine God's light in all you do. Really, you're Christian and strive to shine God's light in all you do. That's why you lie and say you're from South Africa, even you're from USA. You're from USA and then you say you're from South Africa. That's how you strive to shine God's light in all you do, by lying to people. And you cannot speak 12 languages. You can only speak one language. You can only speak one language, that's English. You are from USA, you can only speak one language, that's English. You make a channel lying to people and scamming money from people. And you make all this app review. You make app review and you
YouTube channel to scam people from money, and then you say that you strive, that you're Christian and strive to shine God's light in all you do. God told you to scam money from people and lie to people. God told you to scam money from people and lie to people, you fucking shit, you dirty shit scammer, you disgusting shit liar scammer, just a liar and scammer. And then you talk about God and about being Christian. You don't know anything about God, you don't know anything about religion, you're just a liar and scammer, and you make money lying and scamming people. You don't even feel bad about it. You don't even feel bad about lying and scamming people, you dirty shit scammer and liar. Look this one in her description, in her video description of Lindsey Boats video. Some links are affiliate links and a percentage goes towards supporting my channel. It means every time someone use one of those links of different apps or other things that she put there, if they use those links and if they pay membership to a language learning app or some books or something that she put links of there, or some channel or some page where there's some membership to some movie channel, different language, or some other kind of language stuff that she put links of there, if people become member of any of those links, then she will get a percentage of those money people pay in membership when they become member. So if they use these links and become member of any of those links, she will get a percentage. She will get a percentage. She will get a percentage of the money they pay. And then if you watch my other video, if you watch my other video about this scammer YouTube channel called Days of French and Swedish, this YouTube channel Days of French and Swedish, if you watch my video, in one of the links, he have so many links with descriptions of different apps or different things that he put there in the description. Then he will say that he will not get any money from those links, that he will not get some percentage or will not get something like that. And this guy Days of French and Swedish, he will say in his link description that he will not get money from this, and he will say to people, trust me, I will not get some money from this. That's why I show you now this one, to show you that he is a liar. This guy Days of French and Swedish, in one of his video description, he said that he will not get any money from this, but he will also get a percentage. That's why I show you this one of Lindsey Boats. She said that she will get a percentage. And the same with this guy Days of French and Swedish. He will also get at this like a percentage. He will also get some money every time someone uses his link and become member of some language learning app. He will also get some money. Same with the other Polyglot YouTubers or the other YouTubers. But this guy Days of French and Swedish, he will say that he will not get any money, and he will tell people to trust him. They're all liars. They're just some scammers scamming and lying people. All those channels calling themselves language learning community. They don't write that they're language learning community, but they're a part of this language learning community that Richard Simcott made a video saying that this language learning community is a positive or beautiful language learning community. It's a scam community. Watch all my videos. I show what kind of scammers and liars all this scam community called language learning community is. unintelligent clowns. So many unintelligent clowns watching those polyglot YouTubers and believing them. That's why they also think they can also learn 10 or 12 or 15 language. They think learning 10 or 12 or 15 language, you can just do it in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. They think they can learn 10 or 12 or 15 language in 1 year or maybe 2 or 3 years or something like that. They're not going to learn all those language. They're so stupid, unintelligent people. That's why they follow and subscribe to the polyglot YouTubers, because they're so stupid and they think they can learn 10 or 12 or 15 language in just 1 year or 2 years or something like that. So many stupid, unintelligent people watching those polyglot YouTubers and believing in their bullshit and nonsense.
If you need one language, like for example, if you're still young, if you're still in school, if you're still studying in school, you're still in secondary school or high school or something, and you have 2 or 3 language in your school, if you're studying in some language school and you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 language in that school, or even 6 language, if it's some part of your school and of your study, of course you have to do it because it's some part of your study. But if you're a grown-up person and you're not studying and you want to learn for yourself, if you want to learn for yourself, then only learn one language. If there's some reason that you need to learn 2 or 3 language and you need to do it now, if it's because of some work, if you need it for some work, or because you need it for something that there's really a reason that you need to learn 2 or 3 language for a very important reason, then you can do it, or you have to do it. You have no choice. Then you have to do it. But if you're not studying in some language school where you have many languages at the same time, or if you're not going to use those, or if you don't need to learn 2 languages because of your work or something like that, then focus only on one language. Only focus on one language. That's my first advice. Focus on one language. Learn one language. Later you can learn more language, but start with one language. That's my first advice. Start with one language only. Don't do like Lindsey Boats or other polyglot. And also this Lindsey Boats and those polyglots, they're not learning 10 or 12 language at the same time. They're lying to you. Focus on one language. The polyglot YouTubers, they're just lying to you. Focus on one language. That's my first advice. Another advice is find out why you want to learn that language. I'm sure many people tell you that also on YouTube, and maybe your friends, everyone will tell you why you want to learn that language. If there are 10 different languages, if you're interested in 10 different languages, there's a big chance you don't have enough time in your life to learn all those 10 language. And if you have enough time in your life to learn those 10 language, then you will be like 70 or 80 or 90 years before you learn all this language. Maybe you'll finish learning this 10 language just few years before you die or something. But focus on one language, and then you need to find out what language you want to learn and why. And if you watch the Polyglot YouTubers, and they say they're learning Swedish, many of them will say they're learning Swedish. And I live in Denmark. I know Danish and Swedish and Norwegian. They are not useful language. They're not useful unless you are going to go and live in Sweden. Like if you want to learn, if some people say they want to learn Swedish because the Polyglot YouTubers learning Swedish and because it's easy to learn. Some of these Polyglot YouTubers will say it's easy to learn and it's a nice language, it sounds nice. It doesn't matter if it's easy to learn and sound nice. Swedish, you're not going to use it. Like you're only going to use it if you're going to live in Sweden. If you're going to live in Sweden, or if you're going to live in Denmark or Norway or Finland or something, maybe you will use Swedish. If you're not planning to live in Sweden or Denmark or Norway or Finland, then you don't need to learn Swedish. Why you will use it? Only if you have some friend or family or some relationship with someone from Sweden, or that you want to learn Swedish, or if you need it for some work, if you're working in some company or some work that they want you to learn Swedish, or that work you need to learn Swedish, then you can do it. But if you don't need to learn Swedish for some work or because you're going to live in Sweden or something, then why you want to learn Swedish? Just because the Polyglot YouTubers do it, or because you also want to make some channel about Swedish language or about you learning Swedish. So you will learn Swedish just to make a YouTube channel. Look at me, I'm learning Swedish for 3 months now. I'm learning Swedish for 6 months now, just to impress people. That will be very stupid. Maybe if you do, maybe you will think it's not stupid because you will make money from YouTube doing that. But then there are other language that will be more useful. Still, other language that will be more useful. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't say that to be disrespectful to Danish and Swedish and Norwegian language, but that's the reality. And it's not only Danish and Swedish and Norwegian. It can also be, for example, those people trying to learn Hungarian or Polish or some language like that. Those language that you can only use in one country or in 2 or 3 countries like that. Why learn that language if you're not going to live in that country or work in that country or study in that country, or if you don't work in a company, that use that language, or unless there are many tourists. If there are many tourists in your country, if in your country you have many tourists from that country and want to learn the language so you can talk with the tourist, or so you can work in some restaurant who want you to speak that language with the tourist or something. If not, then why you want to learn this language? My advice is that you should try to learn some of the important language. But if you have some reason to learn Swedish, that you're going to live there, or for some important reason, if you have some really important reason to learn Swedish or Danish or Norwegian, you can do that. But if it's just because you think it's nice or easy to learn or some other nonsense like that, then I will say it's a bad idea. And it's not only Danish, Swedish and Norwegian, also some other language same like this. If you can only use it in one country and you're not going to live in that country or work in that country, or you're not working in some company where you need to use that language, or you don't need to use that language for something specific, then why waste your time to learn a language that you're not going to use? Why waste your time to learn a language that you're not going to use? Then you can always delete that. If you have some list with different language you want to learn, you can already delete those language that you're not going to use, then you, for me, I would think some important language or some language that you can use. You should find some language you can use in many countries. It can be Spanish or Portuguese or Italian, or maybe Italian now is not even so many countries now. I think only Italy and few other countries. And same with German now, it's also not so big language anymore. Like before, there was many people or many countries using German, or there's still some countries, but still it's not one of the biggest language anymore. I think the biggest language are Spanish, Portuguese, French, English, and maybe also Arabic. But if you have no interest in visiting Arabic countries or communicating with people from Arab countries, or you have no reason to learn it, then you can also delete Arabic. Like if like, for me, I think the biggest language or most important language are like Spanish, French, Portuguese, English, and most people already speak English. So the next language should be Spanish, or Spanish, Portuguese, and French. But you can have your own reason to learn a language. Like there can be some specific reason that you want to learn that language to communicate with someone who speaks that language. But you can choose any language you want, but you should find out why you want to learn that language. There should be some good reason. You should not just learn it because some polyglot YouTubers or some YouTubers tell you that Swedish is a nice language and it's nice to learn. If you're not going to use the language, then why waste your time learning the language? This was like maybe the second advice. Another advice is that to learn a language, you can use some language. You can do. I will tell you something you can do, but it's not the best way. It's not the best way, but you can do that. Like you can use some language learning apps like Duolingo or some other language learning apps, but it will just be something to practice some beginner stuff. You can just use some language learning app just to practice some beginner stuff, just to get some idea about the language and learn some vocabulary and learn few stuff in the language. But if you really want to learn the language, the best thing is to find someone who will help you to learn the language, someone who will speak with you personally in that language. It can be a language teacher if you can afford and pay money for the language learning teacher. Then the best way is to find a language learning teacher who will teach you that specific language you want to learn. And same time, it will be more easy for you if you live in the country who speak that language, or if you have some people, friends or family or someone who will practice the language with you, who can speak the language. So this is two important things. Like if you can find some teacher to teach you, if you cannot find some teacher to teach you, or if you cannot afford that, then you can find someone, a friend or family, or a friend of your family or friend of your friend, someone who are a teacher in that language, or who have studied that language, or who are good level or high level in that language, or who have some knowledge in that language. That person can help you learning the language and practice the language with you, speak with you, write some things for you in the language, and give you some language learning books, some beginner stuff that you will practice with that person, or with the teacher, or with that person, so you practice the language. So it's important you have someone who practice with you. It will be better if you are living in a country who speak that language, but if you're not living in a country who speak that language, then you need some teacher to teach you, or someone who know that language, who can teach you or help you practice that language. You need to communicate with someone who help you with that language. You can also watch YouTube videos, but using Duolingo or language learning apps and watching YouTube videos is not totally enough. You need to practice with someone who can speak the language, a teacher or someone, a friend who can speak the language, or like that. So this is my advice. There are many things, but I'm not going to give you this kind of bullshit advice that they do on polyglot channels. They'll give you many nonsense advice about how you should, like, I cannot remember, they have so many bullshit advice how you should like the language and some feelings and some different language bullshit nonsense things. I just give you something that I think is important, some advice I think is important. You can use Duolingo or some language learning app or YouTube, but this is just something to get some idea about the language. And if you use YouTube, don't use YouTube channel of Polyglot YouTubers or this linguist channel or some other nonsense channel. If you find some YouTube channel in Italian or German or French or something like that, it's best if it's someone who is native speaker, and not all of them have good language learning videos, but you can try watching some language learning videos on some YouTube channel, and then after you watch few videos and after you get some idea about the language, maybe you can judge by yourself or also from the comment what people think. And if you don't like it so much, you can try to watch some other YouTube channel with some language learning in Spanish or Italian or something like that. You can try different YouTube channels who have some language learning in that language you want to learn. But this is just something to get some idea about the language. It will not make you fluent or high level in the language. Maybe YouTube videos can help you, but it will take long time and it will be very hard work. It will be very hard work and very tiring if you're going to do it on your own. So it's best if you have some teacher or some friend or family or friend of your family or friend of your friend, someone who can speak the language, who can help you learn the language. So you need to practice with someone, and it will take, and something important, it will take time. It will take time. It can take years. It can take some years to learn a language. I cannot tell you how long time exactly, but to learn a language, it can easily, like if you want to reach some high level or fluency or high level, it can easily take not just few months or 1 year, 2 years like that. Maybe in 1 year, 2 years, maybe depending on the language and depending on how much you practice the language, maybe you can reach an okay level in 1 year, 2 years. But mostly you need more than 1 year, 2 years. Mostly you need 3, 4 years, 5 years, or even longer time. You can even need 5 years or 7 or 10 years, depending on how much you practice the language and if you have some people to practice with and speak with. So it can take a long time. So don't listen to the polyglot YouTubers or those YouTubers who promise you that you can learn a language in few weeks or few months, or that you will be very good in a language or fluent in 3 months, 6 months, or even 1 year and 2 years is also, it can be possible, but you need to practice a lot. It's like most likely it will take you more than 1 year or 2 years. So this is just a video. I want to give some advice and tell my opinion. It's mostly opinion because I'm not a language teacher. If you want to learn a language, find some language teacher, or if you want good advice, find some language teacher, or you can also search on Google about some different advice. You can search on Google and read different things, or you can go to the library. You can go to the library and find some book about language learning and like that. Don't listen to polyglot YouTubers. They're just bullshitting you. So I think that's it. I don't want to make it much longer, and I'm also not a language teacher. I'm just telling you, don't listen to the polyglot YouTubers. Don't listen to their bullshit. And it doesn't matter, even if some of their advice is good, still don't listen to them, because they're trying to sell you some products. They're just trying to make money and scamming you. So thank you for watching, and goodbye. Subscribe to my channel now. Remember to subscribe to my channel. See you. افتكر تشترك في القناة دلوقتي. اشترك في القناة. أشوفك. هلا. Husk at abonnere på min kanal nu. Husk at abonnere. Vi ses. Abonnez-vous à ma chaîne maintenant. Abonnez-vous à ma chaîne.